Okay, I've got a couple options here I was going to try. Had a suggestion of a fluorescent pink and OD green. And then one of the other color combinations would be those like pink and purple. This might be a nice bright color for those that like to put bright colored strings on. So I think I'll do this one for this time. And I'm going to show you a little bit different way of tying the pieces together. I'm going to do it the way I normally do it instead of the other way I had done. So remember, we're going to go with a total of 20 strands. Let me tighten this down here a little bit. So what I'm going to do is 5 times around with this color. Alright, we'll go 5 times around, which is going to be 10 strands of this color. There's our third one. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, leave it extra long. Now I'm going to take this other color, and the way I do them, just kind of cross them over, and then I'm going to hold these two. And then what I do is I'll just kind of fold this up underneath here, pull it tight, and then just do this a couple of times. That's a little quicker knot. It makes a smaller knot. The ones I tied on a couple of the other ones, they end up being, really large knots. You don't need to do it too many times. And then do the same thing with the other side. Pull it nice and snug. And now we'll cut the ends of this off. Not the best scissors for this, but we'll get it. I just burn the ends of those a little bit. Then I notice how small that knot is. It's not really very big. So now we're going to take this one and make sure we go on the upper side here. We'll go 5 times around. Two, 3. And 4. And 5. Okay, give us a little extra room here. Cut this off. Now what I'm going to do is take the other string and tie that same knot. I can just cross these over and start tying this knot. Now you notice here's the other knot, so I want to have them fairly close but not over the top. That way I can go through and get the knots fairly close to each other, and these are fairly small knots. So I'm going to start right about where that knot ends and tie that same knot. And you only need to do 3 or 4 times is all you need to do. You don't need to do a lot of them. And now, the advantage of doing that is now I can pull this fairly tight. I don't have a lot I have to work out. So now, I'll just take and tie this knot. Pull it tight, hold it, snug it up, and now same thing as before. We'll cut these ends off. You put a little pressure on these, they cut much easier. Grab the lighter, put a little burn on the end. Make sure it doesn't burn in the other string because that's not a good deal. Okay, now it don't take as much to get that little slack out of there now. Now what you want to do is, on the jigs, go ahead and take these off, get them lined up. Now you remember you got these two going in here, so you want to take, I like to put these so that I'm going to be putting them somewhere close to the end of the serving. Now there's a couple ways. Remember I showed on the other one where we can just cross them over. I'm going to do this one a little bit different. I'm going to cross them in this way. Come off there. Let's put that back on there. Okay, now when you look at this, you're going to see that this is going to form a little bit different pattern when you put these together. They're going to form little V's in your string. But on a short one, it's not going to show up quite as much. Let me put a couple more twists in here so I can show it a little bit better. Okay, there we go. Now as that goes together, see those little V's it forms in there? A little bit different style. That's what I did on my string one time. I actually did 3 of them, and I braided them like you would a regular braiding. So what you can do is on these jigs, now I want to get some pressure on here, and that'll get me a little pressure to make sure that I have everything all lined up. Now you notice I've got a loose strand here, so I need to work that around. Make sure that strand is not loose. And I'll see this knot here. What I'll do is when I get ready to do the string, the little bit longer ones, you turn this and then you serve in between them. So what I do is if I'm serving the end loop like I normally would, I'm going to take this and let me get this back over here. Get it back up on the wheel here. So now I would turn this and I'd serve a piece in here that I would need to make my loop at the end. So then I would do that on the one end, I'd serve it, then I could do the other one because the strings are quite a bit longer. So now that I have these strands all together, then I would serve around that end. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and serve this end in. One of the things you want to do is put some pressure on it. Now if you want to put pressure on it and leave it overnight, you can do that, where you would put some pressure on it so there's quite a bit of tension. And just leave it sit there. A lot of them will put pressure on them, 400 pounds or so just to get some stretch and pre-stretch them. This string material that I use, the 8125, doesn't seem to have any stretch, if any, or if there is any, it's just very small. So now then, like I said, I would serve around here, but just for this little sample string, I'm just going to serve around just this one little piece here. And there's a couple ways you can start it. Getting them started off is always the difficult part, getting them pulled together. And that's why I like to start off. Go ahead and tie a little loop in here, wrap them around, get them started. Now this one, you have to kind of look which way these are twisted. See, these look like they're twisted this way, so I want to keep going that same direction. Now you can pull it tight, wrap it over that tag end, do a couple loops on the tag end, and then you can go ahead and pull it out because it doesn't need to be in there anymore. Now I'm just going to do a little small one here just because I don't need to worry about it. Now what you do is when you get ready to make your regular string, you're going to take and determine how far you need to serve it down. That's the nice thing you do making your own. You can take and determine how much you need. You can adjust it. You know, if you have a string that you need a little more serving on it, then you can go ahead and add more serving, or if you've got way more than you need, you can take it off, because one of the things you're going to have is you're going to have a lighter string, less stuff on it. It's going to give you a little more speed. Now the other thing you can do is, if you need to, is you can put some twists in the string. Just make sure you're twisting the right way. That help hold it together, keep those strands together, and you can still go through and get your strings to look kind of neat here. You can see we have a little different pattern in there. So let me go ahead and serve this one with a little bit different green. Now to do that, because I need a little room down here, I'm going to have to switch it on these little short strings. Yeah, this little tag end, I like to go ahead and pull it out and then put it back in. Just gives it a little more rocking in the serving. Now when you're serving over these knots, you want to kind of be careful and make sure you get them actually over the knots. Don't know if you can see very well, but that little bitty knot at the end of that, you want to go kind of slow over it. And then one of the things you want to watch for when you serve these and you hit one of those knots, what your serving jig can actually do is start going back the other direction. So you want to watch that as you're going. That's actually going over it, like it's going over it right here. Now this one I'm going to go ahead and serve over it so you can kind of see what it looks like when you serve over the knots. Okay. So what it didn't do on the last one is why it kind of messed up. Had to do it again. Now on the metal ones, I'll go ahead and wrap it around the metal. And the plastic ones, I don't like to do that because they're not quite as sturdy. And then you can always take your pliers and then wrap it around a couple times and then pull. Gotta be careful, it can cut them like that, but okay. Cut that end off. Now the reason you burn the ends of these is so that you have a little bead there so it doesn't unravel as easy. And now here is the finished string, sample string anyway, and you can see we have little V's forming in here. Let's see if we can get this up where you can actually see a little better. You know, a little bit different pattern, and then you can still twist these to make them even tighter and shorten them up a little bit, and they get kind of a different pattern. I don't do this too much because I think I like the other patterns a little bit better, but sometimes you can get some good strings, looking strings that way. Now then for center serving, let's see if I can, what I want to do for a center serving on here. And we have like a blue. That probably wouldn't look too well on it. Here's some of the other center servings. Here's a red braid. And then here's just a tan color. A different braid, a little blacker, a little darker braid. You have just a plain black. And this one has a blue in it. Now I think this one would look probably pretty good with just a black center serving. So one of the things you can do is take the pressure on it and you can separate these strands out and start the serving inside of there. Or you don't have to, you can do it that way if you want. A lot of times I don't bother doing that, but that does give you a starting point. You can figure out where you want your starting point and then just take them around there. Now remember, this is the way it's twisted, so I have to go this way around with it. So I'm going to come around, wrap one around here, take this in and bring it underneath and start wrapping it in. And you don't have to go this way. You can serve right to left, left to right. And there again, you don't need this end in there a long ways. So you go ahead and just take it out. And what you can do is you're twisting it. A lot of times it'll start twisting that string. So I like to actually try and hold the string, keep it from twisting quite so much. And if you have too much tension on it, it's going to really start squeezing it down. You're going to see it kind of get shiny. It means you got just a little bit too much pressure on it. all made up. Okay, there's the string all made up. Missed a little bit. My camera kind of tilted down, so kind of missed a little bit of it. But I served the center serving like you've seen in several of the other ones. So here's the hit the camera now. Here's the string. I tried a little lighter green there. I did the black on here, and then a little different green on this end. I think this string would look really good with black on the end with this silver. With this fluorescent green and black. I've seen some commercial places make just all this fluorescent green, and that would look good just with that too as well. Okay, I made the pink, fluorescent pink and purple string. I made it off camera because it's the same as the rest of them. I used a little red serving down here as well as down here. And then this is a different serving material. It's actually, I don't know if you can see it too well here. It's a red and white different pattern, like a diamond pattern. So that's what I did for the center. I didn't have a pink or a purple one. That would have looked good in either a pink or a purple, but I didn't have anything in that color. So that's what the other one looked like, and a couple different options. And let's take a look at, here's the two I made today, the black and fluorescent green, and the fluorescent pink and purple. It almost looks blue on camera, but it's actually a purple.